Hello everyone, let me just firstly say, I am no critic. What I enjoy or dislike is subject to be different from the norm, and while my opinions are solely my own, I may share a bias on some stuff that may or may not be considered contradictory or incohesive. I wouldn't be the one to tell you what you can or can't like, despite any strong opinion I may share. That being said though, I do have one major problem with audience perceptions these days. Now with that out of the way, let's begin. It's honestly quite a shame that we even have to be talking about this. I love being part of the hype train just as anybody else, but sometimes it becomes way too problematic. I remember when Kingdom Hearts 3 was first announced and over 10 years of stories and character development were going to collide, and it made everybody excited for the insanity that was to follow. It was June 2013, and over the years everyone became more and more excited because every trailer up to that point, especially in 2017, made the game feel much more grander than it needed to be. Everyone believed that the game was going to blow Kingdom Hearts 2 out of the waters. And it's a fantastic game. I love Kingdom Hearts 3. Its combat is one of my favorites in all honesty. However, the game was not being made for 13 years. When Kingdom Hearts 2 concluded, the team decided to make a couple of more games on handhelds that would make the narrative of Kingdom Hearts 3 flow a lot better. While it can be argued that the story was being conceptualized by 2014 with evidence from recoded secret ending, or with the story trailers that were intertwined with HD 2.5 Remix, the truth of the matter is that the game did not transition as well as they were hoping initially, and what made them change from the Luminous engine over to the Unreal Engine 4. Despite its shortcomings in the beginning and losing precious development time, the game actually wound up to be great. And then people thought that it didn't live up to the hype because the years that they waited for it did not meet their expectations. They felt as if the game did not live up to its legacy and that it was overshadowed by Kingdom Hearts 2 because that was the definitive experience that everyone clamored for over 13 years. And you know, people really do think the same way when it comes to movies as well, namely movies from the MCU. Not every movie is going to top the next. The main issue I've seen with this is with Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. The title is one thing, sure, we could have expected a little bit more cameos considering the name title. However, this is a Doctor Strange movie, this is not an Avengers movie. The whole purpose began and ended with Doctor Strange. It's actually kind of ridiculous how we were acting prior to the film's release. We expected so much out of a 2-hour movie, much more than we ever expected anything out of Endgame, Infinity War combined. And that's why I feel people are thinking Phase 4 is much more lackluster than it actually is. Overall, I think Phase 4 is succeeding really well, and while the quantity is a little concerning, I do think that when it hits well. That isn't to say that the opposite can happen, whenever we're so excited for a show to deliver and it literally just falls flat on its face. And see, the tricky thing is that you can't say lowering your expectations makes a better product. I don't really like the sequel trilogy of Star Wars, and I hate bringing it up a lot of times without really making a definitive video on it, but The Last Jedi is the epitome of this trope. In a lot of ways, the subversion of expectations actually made the film much worse. I went in thinking it was going to be a terrible film, and I came out thinking it was a terrible film. My expectation changed nothing. Likewise, I was expecting too much from the conclusion of Rise of Skywalker, and I thought that there was going to be a much more heartfelt moment at the end. I was so certain of Hayden Christensen coming back as Anakin Skywalker, and nothing happened. And that was my fault for thinking that Disney was actually going to deliver on that premise. We are our worst enemy when it comes to the MCU at this point in time. If one thing is changed and is not exactly one-to-one as we expect it to be, the product is automatically deemed as terrible or completely ruined. Guys, I'm sorry, but just like a game jumping from 2D to 3D, there are going to be differences when adapting a comic into a live version setting. There is going to be changes, and change is not always a bad thing. I've seen it plenty of times too, with Cadbane and the Book of Bobafett, gorrthegodbutcher and Loveandthunder, and now even the Inquisitor in Obiwankenobi. Then again, who am I to say, because we bullied an entire studio to change the design of Sonic. Sonic looks a hell of a lot better in his new design, and I'm so happy that we're actually going to be getting an awesome trilogy of movies instead of whatever Paramount was deciding to do initially. Again, it's okay to like these things, and it's okay to dislike these things. All I'm trying to get at is that we need to think a little more rationally when it comes to critiquing these mediums. I'm not saying to accept everything, I'm not saying to like everything for the sake of it. But some things are not as bad as we present them to be, only because we are blinded on our own expectations. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this rant, and I hope to see you on the next video. Take care.